If you're looking to upgrade from the lower end of budget saws, go buy this. If like me though, you need a little bit more information, I'm going to give you the 5 features that make this saw perfect for a hobbyist woodworker looking for that blend between value and quality. Coming in first, we have this upgraded fence using a rack and pinion system, which is considered by many to be a far superior way of keeping your fence straight by locking in the front and the rear. This ensures that the back of the rail stays parallel to the front at all times by locking in both with just one lever. Coming from a slip and clip system, which was never square, then this is a huge upgrade. The fence extends out up to 550mm and has a built-in auxiliary fence that's not only great for thin sheet goods, but it also acts as a support when the fence is pushed to its maximum cutting range. It's a very clever idea indeed. The saw comes with its own markings already printed in. Should you need to make any adjustments, it's one screw to dial it straight back in and get it 100% accurate. Moving on, we have the time it took to set up. From box to cutting was under 20 minutes. The blade came attached, the fence clips on in seconds, and this was honestly the most accurate setup out of the box that I've ever had. If adjustments are needed, then everything is in a convenient place with the easiest possible access. I had to square the blade off with 3 turns of this screw. The handle that adjusts the blades for height and cutting angle is attached in seconds, and the saw comes with its own tools including spanners and an Allen key screwdriver combo. I was amazed that all the parts that arrived attached were so accurate. Maybe this is luck, or maybe it's a touch of class by Evolution. What I can say though is just how impressed I am so far with this saw. Reason number 3 today is a sliding table with mitre attachment. Styled very much on a panel saw, this combo makes stirrer and mitre cuts easy. The gauge locks in with a screw at the rear and the gauge is adjustable by loosening this handle. Be aware though, the gauge itself is similar to other basic models on the market, but the concept itself is intriguing. The plate locks into place when not in use to ensure the saw has a traditional flatbed for sheet or large rip cuts. I love that the tabletop has a wider version of the runner slots so that there is better variety of aftermarket attachments that you can purchase. I've loved upgrading my mitre gauge. It's been one of the best aftermarket purchases I've ever made. Now that we've touched on the blade and cutting, reason 4 is the amount of guts that this motor has. Numbers like 1800, which is the wattage of this machine, sound impressive, but I'm more interested if it can actually cut. Whilst it did a lovely job on some thin stock, I was really surprised at the ease which it mowed through some 3-inch thick Marante, whilst not straining one little bit. That's mightily impressive with just a stock blade. Imagine the results if you swapped out that factory blade for a wood-only blade. The blade is in a sealed unit, meaning that more dust is funneled into the waste pipe, making your shop a cleaner and healthier place for you to work. As a comparison, I made 6 cuts on my mitre saw. Look at the mess on the floor here compared to the back of my table saw. This thing is far superior for dust collection. The reason for this is what's underneath the throat plate. The bottom half of the blade is in an encased unit. This helps catch all the dust and debris as it's cut and pushes it towards the back where it exits through the waste pipe into your dust collector. Comparing this to older models where dust fell straight to the ground, this is a huge upgrade yet again. Now that does leave me with both good and bad points regarding the throat plate. It comes with some self-leveling nuts which are great for making sure that the stock plate goes in nicely and sits flush. But when you look at the depth that is available for the throat plate, it lends itself nicely for a zero clearance insert. Slight fly in the ointment would be that this casing that's so good for dust extraction actually sits slightly proud. Now that's not a huge problem, but it's going to cause you just a little bit more work if you're trying to upgrade this saw. The final reason is quite simple. Everything just works so well. I love the flip paddle on the stop. These used to be aftermarket editions, so it's really good that Evolution has taken notice of some indirect consumer feedback. The push stick has a dedicated holder, which again is in a place that's easy to reach during a cut. Whilst I'm not a fan of plastic push sticks, it was easy enough to cut one of mine down to make a good fit. Oh, how did that get there? Since as it slipped out. If you're enjoying this review, then consider hitting that button at the end. Really helps me out. Again, the fence lever is in a good place. With a quick move and fine tune option, it works so well. But before I sign off, there's a few other bits to mention. This table has additional cutting support if needed with the fence, a cutting sled and this extender on the rear support. That's probably more impressive if you're using this as a true job site saw, but for us weekend warriors, we'll most likely build them into dedicated tables that offer a better solution. An honourable mention also needs to go to the storage solutions that Evolution has built in. Of course, there was the push stick, but the spanners, fence and blade guard all have a home when you're not using them. Now, coming in at £370, this is the top end of the budget range. But I can tell you now, as somebody who battled on for 4 years with an inadequate table saw, I really wish I'd have parted with my money sooner. And that should really say something, because I hate parting with money. So there's one major bit that I don't like with this saw, and it's that the riving knife and the blade guard feel really cheap. There's lots of play in them, quite a bit of wobble, and maybe it's me being oversensitive to it, but I just worry that the blade guard's going to hit the blade and pepper me in plastic. What I will say for the riving knife is how easy it is to take out and put back in again. With the flick of one lever, it releases and locks back in again. So if you've enjoyed this video, you feel like you've got some value for it, please consider hitting that like button for me. It really helps a small channel out like mine. If you want to go on to watch another video, there'll be a build loading in the bottom corner. Thank you for watching, and I hope to catch you on the next one.